show you evidence that the criminal activity has decreased in Washington, D.C. I think that I just showed
Help! Help!
That's a little on this side. And I'm going to let you hear what Johnson meditate to see.
Help! Help!
Let somebody to think twice about criminal activities in Chicago.
Help! Help!
Think about your pressure to the government. Think about
Help!
These governors and these mayors, they have security.
Help! 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 Help!
Just off the rockers. He's exacerbating the problem. Again, like running amok around this country, shredding our Constitution. He's dangerous. We have seen this before. And inch by inch, he continues to see what he will get away with.
Help!
I wish it would just object. He's right. But it's antithetical to what we're actually working to accomplish. This is not just about Bill Brandon Johnson this moment. This is about one nation that he is working overtime to defy and conquer.
Help!
And, it is very, very
Help! Help!
what is very
Help! Help!
individual would say in very constituents
Help! Help!
He
Help!
does believe that brain, money, capital, medical.
Help! Help!
That do not social
Help! Help!
I don't get the logic. I don't get the logic. I mean, even in Chicago, they paved a
Help!
big huge ground to house migrants and spent over thousands of dollars to pave it, and then
Help!
they said,
Help!
you know what? Put anything there because the ground is contaminated. The accusation is that 9 times out of 10, probably somebody that was connected to his campaign told him, you know what, pave it. Do this for my friend. You probably get so and so. If you pay this, because anytime you spend this type of money to make payment and housing for somebody, there's an inspector that comes.
Help!
This is inspectors of land and surveys the land. Okay, and to determine is it liable to put property in. It's like Mayor Emanuel. Mayor Emanuel, I'm going back now. Mayor Emanuel of Chicago, he was wrong. He misallocated TIF money and helped DePaul University build a basketball stadium. Okay, and Chicago is corrupt. I mean, to a certain degree. They gave, like for example, in Chicago, I'm going
Help!
off
Help!
Chicago for an example. They gave big property owners downtown big tax breaks, but they put that load on people on the south side, the east side, and west side of Chicago. And this is just a corrupt city. But I imagine, but getting back to Mayor Johnson, I strongly disagree. I oppose it. I don't think it's right. I don't think that it's wrong. What do you think? You think I'm right? I'm wrong? Do you think the mayor's right for having sanctuary city and not letting the gods? I just don't think it's right. And but you know what? I got
Help!
another
Help!
video to go to, and you know what? If you're liking this, please, you know what? Please, it would help the channel if you press the like button. You leave a message because what happens is, it sends a message to the internet algorithms. Okay, give them a little massage, and and it tells people, "Do you know what? This is good content. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and recommend it." I do show called The Underground Railroad. It comes on every Saturday night at 10:30 in Chicago on Channel 19 at 10:30 p.m. But
Help!
the link
Help!
to the channel will be in the description. So no matter where you live, you can see the Underground Railroad, but you can see us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on this YouTube platform. But getting back to this, it's something that is going on in the United States, something that is going on, and these are things, and like I said, I want to get a guest on to talk about it because, like I said, I have very strong feelings, and you know what? But what I wanted was a Democratic's view of what do they think about the Trump administration and these, not him, his policies. Okay, and there are people
Help!
that have
Help!
hard feelings in Chicago, pretty sure in New York and California too. But what happened is, I'm going to play the video and then I'm going to get out the way. There are people with hard feelings. Okay, I'm going to play this.
Help! Help!
Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you, because you're going to protect the undocumented while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago
Help!
to suffer.
Oh, come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser.
About the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016, and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24 pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already owe with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we got to watch these politics.
Help! Help!
So you know what? So the thing is, you know what you have. I think that you have a mayor in Chicago and a governor in Chicago that has done an disservice to the people. And I think that it is very arrogant to say that you don't need aid, you don't need assistance, even if the
Help!
National
Help!
Guards assist by giving information, and it is wrong to keep ICE out. You have people that are protesting against ICE, and from my perspective, why are you protesting and even getting violent against somebody that is doing their jobs? And you know that there's someone that is violating federal law. Okay. But if I drive past a red light camera, I would get a ticket and I would not be allowed to violate the state law. And if somebody even suggested it,
Help!
you would be
Help!
up in arms about it. It's an oxymoron. As far as speed camera is, what it is it registers how fast that you're going when you're driving. Okay, did you stop at the stop sign? But you will want people to follow the state law. But the thing is, what you wouldn't want them, you would be appalled. I don't deserve the ticket. You go to traffic court and it's adjudicated. It's like a kangaroo court. Okay. And no matter what you say, you're guilty. But you want somebody, that's even like, I hate to go off, that's like in Chicago, Illinois. All this lottery money, playing the numbers. This money was supposed to be allocated to school districts.
Help! Help!
But you don't hear much talk about it. Go back to the image. They want you to obey ordinances, but they do. And you know what? If you don't want to obey it, what makes you think you are entitled to federal money? I don't get it. You know what? Perhaps there's somebody in the audience is, and you know what? So, and don't get me wrong. Okay, I feel bad about the people that are oppressed in these different nations, and I'm no fool. I know that the United States has played a hand in causing destabilization to in these other countries, but you must follow a protocol to come into the United States of America. It's like saying, I need a
Help!
visa
Help!
to go to Saudi Arabia. I need a visa to go to Europe. I need a visa to go to other parts of the country outside of the United States hemisphere. Okay, so let's just say I want to bum rush and sneak on a plane. Okay, sneak on the ship, and I live there. I lived there for 3 years, 1 year, and I'm reaping the benefits. Do you understand that once the African government country that finds out, of the European country that I go to, or the Asian country that I go to, find out that I am there legally, I am there illegally, I am going to be expedited
Help!
back to the United States of America. This represents handcuffs. I'm going to be put on a plane and I'm going back to the United States of America because I violated the law by not having a visa, passport, and I am going to be put in jail. I know it and you know it. Okay, so the individuals that are taking anger and frustration out on ICE agents and Donald Trump, how's you wrong? Again, you need all of these, you need all of this documentation to get through. But if you happen to just sneak through, believe me, they're gonna put you out. They're gonna put you out. So it's I'm gonna go back to Chicago. to say you don't need the National Guards again, and there's young people crowding downtown and destroying automobiles, breaking out windows, vandalizing. And the mayor says to the media, we can't be too hard on these people, on the youth that do this. And, I don't get it. And in Chicago, I'm pretty sure New York too, and California, there's curfew law that has been in effect since I was a little boy that has not been adhered to. It's not being obeyed. What does this say? What does that even say about the mayor before Johnson, Brandon Johnson, the governor before J.B. Pritzker, who it's assumed he will run for president of the United States? I wanted to show you the recklessness that takes place in Chicago. And you know what's interesting about Chicago, New York, and California when these things happen? You don't even hold the parents accountable for their actions. I don't get it. But you know what? I'm going to play this and go ahead.
Help! Help!
Chaos on the streets of Chicago over the weekend with large groups gathering downtown. Joni has more now on how local leaders are responding.
Chicago police have been directed to strategize how they're going to deal with incidents like this as summer approaches. The rowdiness and violence that happened downtown over the weekend shocked people, and it's been seen all over the world on social media. Hundreds of teens and young adults were seen running in traffic on Michigan Avenue in the Loop, jumping on vehicles and smashing windows. Saturday night, 2 teens were shot. A 16-year-old in the arm, a 17-year-old in the leg, both taken to Northwestern Hospital. Police were trying to respond and escort people to safety, but drivers were trapped, and one woman told our Dane Flacco that her husband was driving their car and he...
Help! Help!
The grandfather was doing. So you have been.
Hello. My name is Adam.
You have been looking at the Underground Railroad. You have been looking at the Underground Railroad podcast, and we do a television show that comes on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. But you can on Comcast TV, CAN TV. And I will put the link in the description where you can see the show, even if you don't live in Chicago. And also, we come on 7 days a week, 24 hours a day on YouTube and other social media platforms. And
when Americans turned on their TVs in the early 1990s, one contentious issue was hard to miss: immigration.
Is immigration good for America?
The federal government won't stop them at the border.
You spend $5.5 billion a year to support them.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way.
At the time, there were around 5 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. And most Americans saw immigrants as a burden on the country, taking jobs, housing, and healthcare, and thought immigration as a whole should be decreased.
Our country is invaded by immigrants who are like cancer cells.
That same year, Republicans ran on a tough on immigration platform and took control of Congress. Democrats were pushed to adopt tough positions on immigration, too.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
In 1996, President Bill Clinton signed a major piece of legislation, the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act, or IRA-IRA. Its goal was to decrease the number of undocumented immigrants. It did the opposite. Before the 1990s, undocumented immigration into the U.S. looked very different. For one, it was usually temporary.
People used to go back and forth across the border.
Some albums from the mall. They wouldn't be deported. Over the next 20 years, they never commit another crime. But after 1996, they could be deported because of that old misdemeanor. And not just if they were currently undocumented. This applied to immigrants with lawful status, too. And previously, an immigration judge could decide if the deportation should even take place. Now things were a little more automatic.
Ignoring the fact that those deportations would be extremely harmful to U.S. citizen children or to spouses.
Deportations skyrocketed, and IRA created the framework for future laws that further expanded reasons people could be deported, especially after 9/11. But IRA also made another huge fundamental change in the U.S. immigration system.
One of the aspects of the 1996 law that is particularly strict and I think in many respects inhumane is the so-called 3 and 10-year bars.
Those 3 and 10-year bars made these legal pathways nearly impossible to obtain. They work like this. Anyone who's been undocumented in the U.S. for 6 months and wants to gain legal status first has to leave the country and be barred from returning for 3 years. If they've been undocumented for more than a year, they're barred for 10 years. So if they want to get lawful status through a job, they first have to leave the U.S. for 10 years. Or through their brother, leave for 10 years. Or through their spouse, leave for 10 years.
It's family separation by another name. The bars were intended to try to essentially create punishments that were so severe to deter people essentially from coming here. But as we've seen with many other deterrence-based policies, the practical effect is very different.
Instead, it incentivized people to stay in the U.S. undocumented. Before IRA, Mexican immigrants who came to the U.S. unlawfully were about 50% likely to return to Mexico within a year. But after 1996, more people started staying in the U.S. There were around 5 million undocumented immigrants living at the U.S. before IRA. Today, it's at least double that.
And we are somehow surprised by this outcome. This is of our own doing.
Laws like IRA shaped the way the U.S. focuses on immigration enforcement as a deterrent. But really, it proved that stronger enforcement doesn't actually stop undocumented immigration.
These laws or the politics of the 90s didn't really change the reasons why people come to the United States.
Today, views on immigrants are very different than they were in the 1990s. Most Americans now see them as a strength, not a burden. But the laws created here haven't changed.
Requirements and standards that were created decades ago that aren't responsive to our needs as a nation, they certainly aren't responsive to the needs of immigrant populations.
The idea that if we only had more guns, if we only built a higher wall, that we'd solve all the problems, I think we learned from 96 that's not the way it works. It's not that simple.
What your grandfather was doing. Any message for your grandchildren? Great.
Because I happen to have known someone who was in the NSA.
Okay.
All right? And they don't know what they know now. I've been in their building with him. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And they,
some people don't know what NSA is.
The National Security Administration. And when I walked in there, they got video screens. I mean, from here to 35th Street.
Those street cameras, right?
Those are the screens like you watch on a computer.
Right.
All right? They got a room where they listen to conversations all around the country. All right? That's why I can say what I say. But they let me go because he was an important person. And they figured if he was pregnant, it was all right. All right? They made a mistake, but I never forgot that.
Well, wait a minute, all the while. Any message for your grandchildren? Great.
Because I happen to have known someone who was in the NSA.
Okay.
All right? And they don't know what they'll know now. I've been in their building with him. Did you see it?
Yes, sir.
And they,
some people don't know what's in that city.
National Security Administration. And when I walked in there, wow. They got video screens. I mean, from here to 35th Street.
Those street cameras, right?
Those are the screens like you watch on a computer.
Right.
All right? They got a room where they listen to conversations all around the country. All right? That's why I can say what I say. But they let me go because he was an important person. And they figured if he was pregnant, it was all right. All right? They made a mistake, but I never forgot that.
Well, wait a minute, all the while.